Our next section is syringomyelia. Now, syringomyelia is an easy subject, but you don't think it's easy. And the reason that you don't think it's easy is it's because it's like people to draw, drawing something for people who don't draw. I think drawing anything is incredibly difficult because I just don't do it. If I did a little drawing, then you know what, drawing is no big problem because it's simple. It's simple after you see that it's just a couple of data points. Syringomyelia, the first thing is, what is a syrinx? A syrinx is an expensive Greek word for water balloon, water cavity, fluid-filled cavity, a syrinx. A syrinx, like meninges, is an expensive Greek word for covering the meninges. A syrinx is caused, let's look at this first syringomyelia slide, in the cervical spine, which is subject sometimes to trauma and tumors. It can also happen congenitally with an Arnold-Chiari malformation, which is always at the level of the spinal cord in the cervical spine. Non-communicating, okay, trauma and tumors. Now, syringomyelia, let's look up at this diagram for a second. Syringomyelia is an enlargement of the syrinx of the fluid-filled cavity here at the center of the cord. So what do you see that it hits first and damages? If you lose the center of this spinal cord, you have a syrinx or fluid-filled cavity in the center because of tumor, because of trauma, because of Arnold-Chiari malformation. What you see is we've enlarged this and it looks like we just clipped out our pain and temperature fibers. Those pain and temperature fibers that used to cross here, look at this. They've just gotten severed by the syrinx. So if you understand the anatomy, that the pain and temperature fibers cross at the center, you will understand why syringomyelia presents with the loss of pain and temperature because the fluid-filled cavity at the center assassinates, murders, kills, damages the decussating pain and temperature fibers. You will also see that position and vibratory stay intact because position and vibratory are not decussating near the center. They're traveling up the posterior column and then crossing in the midbrain. That's why syringomyelia is pain and temperature loss. Now, the other thing about syringomyelia that's unique is that syringomyelia, 1, doesn't give pain. Number 2, doesn't give tenderness. Number 3, doesn't give hyperreflexia. Most of the time, can actually make you lose reflexes. Syringomyelia, when you're looking at the spinal cord and they ask you what it is, then you say MRI. MRI that cord, MRI the cord. Single best answer, MRI. There's nothing to biopsy in syringomyelia. There's no mass necessarily, not just for the syringomyelia. If there's a tumor causing it, you can biopsy it, but not for the syrinx. Then the syrinx, there's nothing to biopsy. Pain and temperature decussate at the level of the cord. When there's a syrinx or fluid-filled hole, because there's trauma or tumor obstructing it, it damages those pain and temperature findings, but keeps intact position, vibratory, light touch, and motor. MRI is the most accurate. Now, why is it causing a loss of pain and temperature in a cape-like distribution in someone, look, excuse me, I'm just making a sort of an alien picture here, in a cape-like distribution across the back and upper arms? You're losing pain and temperature here in a cape-like distribution. You're losing pain and temperature in a cape-like distribution in the neck, the back of and the upper arms. Why? Why? Because cervical spine damage is where it happens. What controls the pain and temperature here? C567, C5678, C567, C567. So it is a cape-like distribution over my neck and shoulders because it damages my cord where the pain and temperature cross here at the level of the cord. Now, the diagnostic test is an MRI, and the only treatment is surgical decompression. But look for the word cape. Cape-like distribution over your back because it's bilateral pain and temperature. Let's look at the next slide. Cape-like distribution, loss of pain and temperature. But tactile, touch, position, and vibratory sense are intact. Why are we damaging reflexes? Because you have to have an intact spinal cord to have a reflex arc. It's cutting the reflex arc. Now, syringomyelia is trying to say here that the center of the cord is becoming damaged. So if we look at this picture here, we say the center of the cord is being damaged. This is where the pain and temperature fibers are crossing. This is where position and vibratory sense is. Position and vibratory. This stays intact. This is pain and temperature. This is position and vibratory. Syringomyelia, pain and temperature and a cape-like distribution, get me an MRI and do surgery. Syringomyelia, pain and temperature and a cape-like distribution, give me an MRI and do surgery. If you sat around all day long for a year and tried to think up any more information about syringomyelia than that, you wouldn't get anything. That's it.